A warm welcome to another episode of Service to Humanity, your window into the activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development as it carries out its mandate of providing social inclusion and protection for the nation's vulnerable. Most vulnerable of this population are persons living with disabilities. Last week, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities lined up a number of activities to mark the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and that will be a focus in tonight's episode of the program. I am your anchor, Hafsat Mustafa Hadija. Stay tuned as I unfold the program to you.
The Empower program is key to helping young Nigerians acquire and develop.
The federal government of Nigeria remains committed to including and protecting persons with disabilities to guarantee that no one is left behind.
I see that we are going through challenging times, and I see this woman running all about the country trying to help our people, because this lady is doing a very good job for our country.
Thank you.
Thank you for all what you have been doing for us.
The program starts with the Management Diary, where we bring you news from the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and its various agencies. In our lineup, Minister commissions National Disability Electronic Certificate Production Center, even as she promises that perpetrators of human trafficking will be prosecuted. For details, please stay tuned.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, on Wednesday, commissioned the National Disability Electronic Certificate Production Center, located at the Persons with Disability Complex in Abuja.
We'll be launching it tomorrow for those that...
The Minister also launched a mini Braille printing center, as well as a National Disability Data Processing Center, an accessible office complex, and 2 operational vehicles to improve mobility and productivity of the Commission. Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who expressed delight over the innovation, assured that the inauguration of the projects was the beginning of inclusivity, which persons with disability have always yearned for. She also expressed delight in the rapid development of the Commission, which was established within 1 year.
I am very delighted this afternoon to be here in your midst to witness this very drastic development that has taken place in the last 1 year in this commission. And I feel very, really delighted. This is unprecedented. Within 1 year, we've been able to accomplish so much. And by the day, this is growing as I see this commission being nurtured through the stages of growth to fulfilling its mandate.
Speaking to journalists, the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. James David Lalu, explained that the project would aid activities of the community of people with disabilities.
The collection of data for our relevant institutions, primary, secondary schools that are special institutions, are expected to go directly into online right now, then upload their information that we can be able to register them. By next year, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities is expected to start providing special intervention to special schools in Nigeria. Any institution that is not able to upload its information and register with the Commission online cannot be able to benefit from the services or support from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. There will be on-site physical verification of the institution to determine the services they provide for persons with disability, so they can be able to benefit from any intervention of the federal government of Nigeria.
The town hall meeting on the prevention of human trafficking, irregular migration, sexual and gender-based violence, organized by the Roots Foundation, a non-governmental organization equipped to provide advocacy and awareness creation, critical humanitarian, pro bono legal and financial support for victims of human trafficking, sexual and gender-based violence. The Minister Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who was represented by Hajara Ati Ahmed, Head of Planning, Research and Statistics of the Ministry, said, the ministry coordinates President Muhammadu Buhari's agenda to transform the lives of Nigeria both at home and abroad. She added that perpetrators were not only being apprehended, but also ensured to be prosecuted. She also called for all hands to be on deck to ensure progress is made in eliminating the challenges of human trafficking, migration, sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria.
While some of these cases are at various stages of trial, some convicted traffickers have been incarcerated already. Apart from the criminal traffickers, we place premium on the vulnerable victims as we are committed to their resettlement and rehabilitation through the collaboration with the Nigerian Embassy in Lebanon, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the IOM, and the Nigerian Diaspora Commission. We are able to secure safe return of over 250 victims of human trafficking from Lebanon. Hence, we look forward to collaborating and partnering with other non-governmental organizations such as Roost Foundation and private sector, and even the media, because we know that the media can do a lot with this. As a ministry, we will continue to adopt proactive policies and strategies towards the actualization of our goals.
Earlier, the founder of Roost Foundation, Dame Dr. Giulio Cadolli, said the government over the years had been working with international organizations to address the issues of irregular migration, human trafficking and gender-based violence. She added that the post-COVID-19 lockdown era has been dominated by issues bordering on human trafficking, migration, sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria.
Indeed, the lockdown exacerbated a lot of social problems, especially domestic violence, including intimate partner violence, child abuse, sodomy, rape, and other ugly tendencies. As Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, during the lockdown, we saw a huge spike in cases of domestic violence, caused mainly by cabin fever, occasioned by spouses suddenly discovering unknown aspects of themselves or their children having been confined together by force within their homes.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones.
They should use this money for what it is meant for, efficiently to take care of their family.
In 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bound.
And the government is very well because they did well for us.
Help me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
Welcome back. The annual observance of the International Day for Persons with Disabilities was proclaimed in 1992 by the United Nations General Assembly resolution. The observance of the day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with disabilities. It also seeks to increase awareness of gains to be derived from the integration of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. This year's event in Nigeria was marked with the first edition of Disability Summit, which held on Thursday, 9th December 2021. Let's see how the summit went.
Disability inclusion is an essential condition to upholding human rights, sustainable development, and peace and security. It is also central to the promise of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to leave no one behind. The commitment to realizing the rights of persons with disabilities is not only a matter of justice, it is an investment in a common future. In commemoration of International Day for Persons with Disabilities, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities NCPWD, organized the first National Disabilities Summit. According to the Executive Secretary of the Commission, the summit is intended to bring together the best of the best among persons with disabilities in Nigeria to show that there is ability in disability. Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, James David Lalu, in his welcome address, thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for his support for persons with disabilities.
We want to appreciate His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, who happened to be the most disability-friendly president in the history of Nigeria. We will always say it everywhere, that since the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914, we have never found any president that is so disability-friendly like His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. Our Honorable Minister is here with us. There is a name that the disability community and the vulnerable people in the rural communities continue to call her. The name is in Hausa, Maman Talakawa, the mother of the poor. This is the name that the people continue to give her because of the money she giving out from that her office on that National Social Investment Program.
Representing the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, Senator George Akume, Minister of Special Duties, described persons with disabilities as people who have done Nigeria proud in areas such as sports, citing examples from the recently held Paralympics held in Korea.
We will remember our sports women and men at the recent Paralympics held in Korea did exceptionally well with several gold medals and other awards in many categories, a feat that puts the nation's flag at an enviable state. This has no doubt proven the strength that abounds in the disability community. Today, National Disability Summit provides a platform to bring together advocates, comrades, support groups, scientists, and experts in technology to brainstorm on the struggles, challenges, and achievements recorded in the disability community.
Ajia Sadia Umar Farouk, the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, said with over 31 million people living with disabilities in Nigeria, the theme of this year's International Day of Persons with Disabilities is focused on ensuring that persons with disabilities are equipped and empowered to navigate and succeed in a COVID-19 world.
And since inception in August 2019, my ministry has worked assiduously to ensure the inclusion of persons with disabilities in all our programs and interventions. I must reiterate that none of us will be gathered here to observe this day and the success the Commission has achieved if not for the acknowledgement of this present administration of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for assenting to the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act and also establishing the Commission of National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and appointing the Executive Secretary and the Chairman and Board members for the full commencement of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. The Act provides for the full integration of persons with disabilities into the society and the creation of the National Commission that will be vested with the responsibilities for the education, health, social, economic, and civil rights of persons living with disabilities in this country.
The Humanitarian Ministry was created to, amongst other things, socially and economically include persons with disabilities to build their resilience and reduce their risks to pandemics.
With more than 1 million persons with disabilities in our National Social Register database, we presently provide about 115,000 with monthly stipends. And additionally, I have approved enrollment of 40,000 persons with disability into the Batch C stream of the Empower program. And also through the JIP program, over 500 persons living with disabilities receive their point of sale machines and send money, since which has commenced their businesses.
Chairman, Governing Council, Commission of People with Disabilities, Honorable Dr. Suleiman Kangiwa, made it known that the Governing Council will continue to do its best to ensure the smooth running of the Commission. Dr. Kangiwa congratulated persons with disabilities for not allowing their conditions to deter them.
I want to congratulate all the persons with disability for not allowing their conditions to hinder them from pursuing their dreams and contributing to their quotas to the social development of our society.
Deputy British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Gil Atkinson, who gave the first goodwill message, encouraged attendees not to be embarrassed about their disabilities.
That disability is not an issue to be ashamed or embarrassed about. By being open about your disability, about the contribution you can make to society, and about the work you are able to do, you too can make a difference.
Senator Tanko Umaru Almakura, on his part, praised the Humanitarian Ministry and the Commission of Persons with Disability for the work put in to help and involve persons with disabilities.
It is often said that a civilization is measured by how it treats its vulnerable members. Therefore, I commend the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, Social Development for their thoughtfulness in initiating this summit to bring together stakeholders to continue to brainstorm on the challenges facing people with disabilities with a view to alleviating them.
The high point of the summit was a presentation of a wheelchair designed for persons with disabilities to use while boarding aircrafts.
You're watching Service to Humanity, a program which brings you up to date with activities of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and its various agencies. No doubt, the COVID-19 pandemic had a negative impact on the social and economic status of a number of nations and by extension people. Persons with disabilities are most affected, particularly because of the challenges they face every day of their lives. How much were they affected? How have they been coping, and what can government do to aid their social inclusion? We spoke with some persons with disabilities during the Disability Summit, and they provided us with an insight into how the pandemic has affected them. Let us take that report.
The theme for the 2021 International Day for Persons with Disabilities is Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities Towards an Inclusive, Accessible and Sustainable Post-COVID-19 World. It is aimed at pushing for the worldwide inclusion of persons with disabilities in the post-COVID-19 era. Dr. Chike Okogu, a person living with disability and the Chief Responsibility Officer, Center for Ability and Rehabilitation and Empowerment, shares with us some of the ways persons with disabilities were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID-19 is one of the biggest challenges that we have faced as persons living with disabilities. We are at the forefront of the height of exposure, because take me for example. I'm exposed because with my wheelchair I need people to help me lift and bring out my wheelchair. The blessing who is blind is also exposed because he needs people to help him with his cane at some point, and he's touching everywhere. COVID-19 has impacted so much because in terms of working, we cannot go to work because of COVID-19. And it's not everybody that can do everything at this period.
Murphy in Dam's story is not far from what Dr. Okogu has mentioned. The COVID-19 pandemic caused her a lot of challenges.
COVID-19 affecting namu, especially disability, person living with disability. Gaskiya abin ya affecting namu domin in za a ce za a je kasuwa a siya abubuwa. Mu kuma yawanci mu ba aiki muke yi ba. Muna zama ne kuma Allah ne mai tanada mana. Kuma kamun mu ce mu samu mu je kasuwan kamun a rufe kasuwa don ana rufewa ne. Yana zama mana ba sauki. Wani lokaci ma gaskiya sai mutum ya duma ruwa ya sha.
During the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020, Murphy had to depend on help from others to take care of herself, her 2 nieces from her late brother, and her little daughter who is in primary school.
Ya sa kuma ina sadda siro, ina sadda itace domin akwai wani good Samaritan wanda ya iya ya providing min kudi ina wannan kasuwanci da shi Dr. Ayebene a Shandam a Plateau State. Ya tanada min kudi ina yin aikin nan kuma akwai yara wanda suna hannuna wanda senior brother na ne ya mutu ya bari na duba ta domin su uku daya na duba ta kai ta reading lab technician ta gama tana aiki yanzu a Doma a Lafiya State kuma daya ta gama na sa ta je ta yi koyon cosmetic daya kuma ta gama na sa ta tailoring. Then the last daughter da ni nake da shi da na aiwu ita ne yanzu tana primary school.
Shindo Aaron, chairman of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, JONA, Plateau State Chapter, lost his right leg in an auto crash and has since then been subjected to the use of prosthetic limb. He believes it should be expected that persons with disabilities would have experienced one form of challenge or another during the post-COVID-19 era, since even able-bodied persons are still recovering from the adverse effects of the pandemic.
The so-called able have not found it easy either. It has a serious telling effect on them, and if at all they are affected, you should expect those of us that are somehow vulnerable will be at the receiving end much more than they have been. Of course, we suffer some limitation. We can't favorably compete with them in struggling for life. And of course, you know, with the lockdown up and down, there was serious destabilization within the community. It has affected me, and of course, it has affected quite a number of people who have disability.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in a bid to carry along persons with disabilities in the political and socio-economic spheres of the nation, signed into law the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act in 2018. About a year ago, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, inaugurated the Governing Council of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. The commission is intended to alleviate the sufferings of persons with disabilities, including seeing to their education, general well-being, employment and economic development.
Muhammadu Buhari is the first ever president, to spare a 5% slot to persons with disability in terms of appointment. In fact, all opportunities for full engagement and participation of persons with disability in the political and socio-economic endeavors in the Nigerian nation. And of course, let me say again, the biggest opportunity is by signing that bill into law for the establishment of a commission for persons with disability, which is the National Commission for Persons with Disability. And of course, this gathering that you are witnessing today is at the instance of this very commission. Before it, we have never had this kind of gathering of all persons with disability from all corners and crannies of Nigerian Federation.
Indeed, persons with disabilities are joyous about having a sense of belonging and are hopeful for better days to come, with what they see being unfolded for them by the Muhammadu Buhari administration.
I want to
give credit to the current administration, the administration of Alhaji Shehu Shagari and Alhaji Muhammad Buhari. It has been wonderful. The community of persons with disabilities have not seen this kind of attention that we are getting today from creating the National Commission for Persons with Disability to the Minister of Humanitarian gracing the occasion, and another minister, a very high-ranking minister, Honorable George Akume, being highly represented, not to talk about the police and all the other agencies coming to talk, giving wonderful goodwill messages, telling us what they are going to do going forward. We are just beside ourselves with joy. Today is actually our day, and we cannot stop celebrating.
That is our package for this week. Join us same time next week for another edition of the program Service to Humanity. Until I come your way again, stay safe and God bless Nigeria. Good night.